Alright, what's going on, guys? We're back. I wanted to bring you a little something different today. It's New Year's Day, 2022. We got a big slate going on Draftkings tomorrow. 14 games. I just wanted to bring you guys a little something different, a little video, show you how Andy and I kind of put together our lineups here on Draftkings. So, hope you enjoy it, and let's get it. So, before we get started, I just wanted to say that we have no affiliation with any of these companies, or we're not endorsed by any of them, certainly. But this is what we use, guys. We use Fantasy Labs, and been using it for, I don't know, off and on for a couple years. They really seem to know what they're doing. Started off with a few guys. One of them, CSU Ram, who's one of the top daily fantasy players. I don't know how active he is anymore, but back in the day, definitely one of the top fantasy football players. So anyway, guys, onward to a little bit of how we put these together. So you can go in under these models. They have different pro models, different statistics lined up for them, how they've done over time. I like doing a little something different, kind of put, I guess, our own touches on it, if you will. So you can go in and edit the model. There's a bunch of different categories here, obviously. But when we're playing these tournaments with tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of entries, we got to have the upside. We got to consider ownership. We got to consider their ceiling, their projected plus minus a little bit, their opponent. And again, these are just kind of things that I've put together just to kind of put my own or our own twist on it. But these are kind of the ratings I'm going for. I want the model to look for, see what Vegas thinks going to happen. See how the opponent looks. How are these players projected to do, versus their salary. I need guys that are going to have huge upside, because we need guys that are going to score 25 and 30 points in every spot in our lineup in order to win a big tournament. So, onward. Fantasy Labs gives you a bunch of different metrics here. As you can see, we got projections, ceilings, floors. The most important one for me is the projected ownership here. And this is where I go to start to build the lineups. So, as you can see, they project Trey Lance to be the most popular quarterback on the week. And obviously, a lot of that has to do with the 4,800 price tag right there. They project him to have 20 points, which is basically as much as any quarterback on the week, only you're getting them at a much, much discounted rate compared to everybody else. So basically what I do, and I'll do this, I won't do this for the sake of this video, but what I will do, because this is how you attempt to win these tournaments. You have to play on the leverage of the ownership of these players. So I'm going to think to myself, okay, do I want more than 20% of Trey Lance in my lineups? Or do I want less than 20% of Trey Lance in my lineups? You know, sometimes you can go even with the field and stay around 20% with Trey Lance if you want. But really where you make the difference in your lineups is by either having more of a guy or less of a guy than everybody else. And then if you get the right combination in your lineup, you know, you're in business. So just theoretically, as popular as Trey Lance is, you know, I won't have more than 20% of Trey Lance. I ran some models previously with no restrictions, and it put Trey Lance in every single one of my lineups. And we're not going to do that. But basically, I'll go through every single player, all the quarterbacks, every single flex player there is, and I'll decide, do I want more or less or the same of the field? In some cases, you might want a lot more. You might think, let's look at the ceiling. You might say 1% ownership for Deebo Samuel is just too low. Because what if he has a big game? What if he has one of his 30, 35 point fantasy games and only 1% of the lineups have him in there? So it's those kind of things you have to play on in order to create unique situations for your lineup possibilities. And then I guess we'll just kind of finish it off. We'll show you what Fantasy Labs thinks some of the best plays of the week are. Taylor, Cup, Kelsey, Goddard. It's going to be tough though for San Francisco. This is a weird one. This is where you got to figure out what's going to happen. It's got Elijah Mitchell rated really, really high. San Francisco running back, 7%. But then it also has Trey Lance rated really, really high, 20%. Well, Elijah Mitchell and Trey Lance are very unlikely to both get you 30 points. So again, it's all about playing with these ownerships. You can set your exposures. Let's say I want Jonathan Taylor in 35% of my lineups or thereabout. I can go minimum of 30% and a maximum of 35% in my lineups for Jonathan Taylor. And I've already leveraged the field. I'm going to have 10 to 15% more Jonathan Taylor than the rest of the field. And I can do that, and I will do that for every single player on the slate. And then, once I've done all that, let's see, I'll just for the sake of doing it here, we'll click on the CSU Ram one. And let me remove a couple because I think you have to tweak it just a little bit. Typically, just to have my lineup be a little different, I'll set it on 99% of the salary so it won't use every dollar. And then I'll make it use at least 97% of the salary. This is also very important as well. You don't want a bunch of popular guys in your lineup. That's not the way you get to the top of a big field tournament. You want to stick between 130, 140, 150, and that's the cumulative ownership of every guy in your lineup. So if you have Jonathan or Trey Lance, you know, at 20%, you have Jonathan Taylor at 21%, then you've already got 41% of that cumulative number there. Let's see, right here. So that's how that works. And you want your lineup to be different, because the only way you're getting to the top is if you have one or two guys that are under-owned that get you 2 or 3 touchdowns. And so there's a few different things you can do. You can make rules where you can pair your quarterback with at least 1 or 2, wide receivers from the same team. You can pair your quarterback with 1 wide receiver from the opposite team. You can do those kinds of things. There's all different kind of possibilities. And then you come in here and decide how many lineups you need. We're generating by the ceiling because we want as many points as we can get. And we haven't played with any of the exposures, so it's just going to spit out what it thinks are the best possible scenarios. So again, I'll go through and I'll edit every single player based on what their ownership projections are. And then it'll spit out a bunch of lineups. And we can take them right over to Draftkings if we want. We would save our lineups and it would pull up a screen where we can go directly to Draftkings. But anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this little video. Just giving you a little sneak peek, showing you what Andy and I do when it comes to fantasy football. And if you happen to be playing tomorrow, we'll be in the bunch of the dollar tournaments, the $3 tournaments, maybe a few lineups in the Millie Maker, why not? But again, appreciate you guys watching. We would appreciate a like and subscribe to the video and to the channel if you guys haven't already. And we'll catch you on the next one. Appreciate it, guys.